going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to start assembly of the 8.8. So this is going to be a couple day process for me, but for you guys this will all be one video and we'll get this whole axle together. So let's hop right into it. Let's get stuff pressed on, new bearings, the whole nine. Hopefully we got a quiet axle, hopefully. I'm going to start by pressing the carrier bearings on the differential. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to come over here. Hello, Buster. How you doing? So I'm going to come over here, and I have, from when I did the Jeep axle, I have some, stuff like this, old bearings and everything. I'm going to see what fits the inner ring of the bearing, like the inside one right there. You don't want to push on the outside one, because you will mess the bearing up. So you want something that fits right smack dab in the middle, kind of like that does on there. But you also need this to go over that part in the carrier where it slides onto, because it actually gets pressed slightly past that. So I'm gonna see what I have that fits. And pretty much we're gonna put the carrier here and we'll, press down on the bearing till it fully seats. Nothing crazy, but we gotta get it done. So let's get it done. And then probably torque the ring gear onto the carrier, which I'll utilize my press to torque the bolts properly. But we'll talk about that when we get there. So let's get these bearings on really quick, and hopefully everything goes smoothly. Like I was saying about that top one I had up there, it's going to fit our bearing perfectly. I'm not too sure what this is. I think this is an old wheel bearing race, but as you can see, like I was saying, we have to go over this. So this does indeed fit over top, and it does not hit the cage. It will push only on the center section. So we should be good here. That's what the inside of a Eaton trac looks like. So everybody knows the gears are much beefier in there than the factory limited slip. So I'm going to put this like this, and put this like this, and then we just need to figure out something obviously in the center here to push down on. That I'm not entirely sure of yet. I might wind up using this right here, which is just pretty much another one of these guys right here. But I did go ahead and I did set the differential up on a piece of wood just so it's not gouging my metal piece right here on the metal. That's just kind of good to do. You don't want to screw up a $900 differential. So yeah, I'm going to get this pressed on and we'll see how it goes. So first bearing is pressed on. Pretty much like I was saying, you press it down. You'll feel it in the press, like you'll feel it in the handle of the press, but you'll feel it bottom out. Just make sure that it's on there straight, and make sure that you have no gaps between the carrier and the bearing. Nothing crazy there. The Jeep ones are a little bit more of a pain in the ass because the shims actually go underneath here. So you got to make like 2 dummy bearings for them. But I didn't damage the bearing at all, pressed it on, everything like that. I'm going to do the other side, probably do a time lapse of that for you guys, just because I was unsure about the top one, how I was going to do it. Unfortunately, my piece of wood didn't work out, so I am sitting on the metal, but it is what it is. The wood kind of just started splitting. So I'm going to get the other one pressed on, and we will torque the ring gear down and everything like that. So yeah. So I have this set up in the press just so it doesn't move on me. All of these bolts, you're going to want to do a star pattern. They get torqued to 85 foot-pounds. So I got my Icon torque wrench over here set at 85 foot-pounds. I'm going to go in a star pattern. I'm going to get them all torqued down, and then I'll pick you guys back up after we are done. So all of these bolts are torqued to 85 foot-pounds. when you're going around in your star pattern, just mark the ones you already torqued so you don't lose track of where you are. But we do have a fully assembled carrier now. We have our 4, 5, 6 gear, both of our new carrier bearings, our new ring gear bolts. These come with red Loctite already on them, so you don't have to worry about that. At least if you get the Ford ones, they do. So this is fully assembled now. So now, next we will have to deal with the pinion and everything like that, get our shims right and everything. But I think I am done for the night. So in the next clip, you will see me another day when we start setting the backlash up on the gear set, get everything in there, stuff like that. But yeah, it's not too bad. Just make sure you hold this down and, you know, torque it properly, go on a star and everything. You should be good to go. I want to get these axle tubes welded up. Nobody really told me a right or wrong way to do it. I've seen mixed reviews about putting the axle in a jig, and then I've seen people where they just literally weld them on the car. So I'm just gonna grind this down right here, on the side here, and on the tube itself, probably out maybe that far. Get it down to bare metal, and I'm just gonna send it. I'm gonna probably do 1 inch at a time, pretty much like one here, one here, one here, one here, and then we'll go back and we'll fill everything in. I don't want to put too much heat in it. That was like the main thing they were saying, is don't put too much heat. Like, make sure you move around, only do inch stitch welds at a time. So I'll probably do the 4 on this side, then I'll do the 4 on that side, and it should be good. I mean, I've literally saw people literally just weld these when the axle's up underneath the car and they had no issues. So that is what I'm going to do. So I got my Dremel over here with a sanding disc on it, pretty much just going to grind all this down. No need to really film that for you guys, but I'm gonna go grinding away right now, and then I'll pick you guys up when I'm ready to start welding. Prep this the best I could. Just a whole bunch of different attachments for a Dremel, some sanding discs, some wire brush disc, just to try to get up in this crease. I think this is the best it's going to get. It is down to bare metal pretty much all the way around. So we're going to lay some beads down there. I still got to do the other side. And then we will start welding. Hopefully we don't fuck this axle up. Hopefully. I don't think we're going to, though. I think we're going to be okay. We got both sides prepped and ready to go. So now there's only one thing to do. Go grab the welder and lay down some welds. That I'm actually going to film for you guys because I think the weld looks awesome on video. But I didn't film cleaning it because honestly, I needed my music to jam out while I was spending, 45 minutes cleaning fucking rust off the axle. So I hope you guys can understand that. But I will film the welding for you, I promise. So we got both axle tubes welded up. I did preheat it with the propane torch before I did it, just because, like I was saying, a lot of people said to preheat it because it is cast steel, I believe. But both tubes are completely welded up. I had the welder cranked up pretty high. I actually blew the breaker in the garage one time. That is just mainly because this is some really, really thick metal. But it doesn't look terrible. I mean, I really don't care what it looks like as long as it just keeps the tubes from twisting. But it actually came out pretty good. I mean, granted, guys, I'm still new to welding. Like, I started welding with the front end, the tubular front end. So maybe like just over a year ago, I started welding. So honestly, for a year's experience, that is not bad whatsoever. You guys want to know if your tubes are already twisted, which I probably should have done this before I just welded it, but I didn't think about it till just now. These points are going to be the same left to right. So right now I'm at a 0 degree, right? And if I take this guy right here and I move it over to this side, we should see 0 degree are pretty dang close. Yep, so we're right on the money. So our tubes were not twisted yet, which is a great news, because now they definitely will not be twisting because they're welded the whole entire way around. So that is what that prevents. 8/8s are notorious for axle tubes twisting. Then again, this car doesn't make crazy amount of power, so probably wouldn't twist them, but it's better to do this now than do this later, you know, after I start adding more power to the car and everything. So I just got it done. The rear's out. Might as well do it. She's all painted up, guys. She's ready for install. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow we'll start getting her put back together. We'll get her back under the car. We'll have to put some easy miles on her. No big deal. But yeah, we got to break her in, and then we can send her. See how she's gonna do with the 456 gears. Pretty excited, guys. Pretty excited. Guys, so I'm going to start by pressing the pinion races in. The big race goes in the inside here, and the small race goes on the back side. Pretty much the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to put this, you know, obviously where it belongs, like so. And then I'm going to use the old pinion race on top of it with a bearing seal driver, just to make sure I don't damage anything here. Definitely don't want to damage your new races, but we need to get these in before we can put the pinion in and start doing our mock-up of our shims and everything and figure out what we're going to have to do. So I'm going to get that pressed in there and show you guys what it looks like when it's all set up. All right, so I got both races are fully pressed in. They stop at the end. There's like a lip. You got to press them all the way down to that lip, front and back side races. You can see the other race down there. So they press all the way to that lip right there with the cutout. They'll stop once they hit that. I don't have a good bearing seal driver, so I actually use the brass punch. You won't damage these with brass punch because it's much softer than the steel that they are. So I wasn't really worried about it, but I drove them down like that. I pretty much just went over here, over there, over there, over there, till it went all evenly all the way down. So we are pressed in. So I got to get the pinion up in here. The pinion, we are going to use the old pinion nut and the old crush sleeve. And I'm going to put the pinion in here with the setup bearing that I showed you guys in one of my shorts. I pretty much ground out the inside of the big pinion bearing because your shim lives under that. So you want to be able to slide it on and off while you get the proper shims for this axle. So I'm going to use the setup bearing. I'm going to start with a 0.030 shim on the pinion, which is recommended by Ford. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to slide the pinion in, put the new pinion flange that I bought on, and the old pinion nut, the old crush sleeve, and the new top pinion bearing. I'm going to put all of that together, and we're going to, you know, get it like hand tight. We don't need to like crank it down or anything, but we need to make sure it's tight and not moving around. And then we'll set the carrier in here, and we will figure out what we're going to do with our backlash and everything. And we might have to adjust our pinion too, so just keep that in mind. But we need to start by getting everything in here and seeing how everything's going to, you know, plan out here. Like, we got to check wear pattern, we got to check backlash, you know, all that stuff. We got to make sure the teeth are meshing in the middle of the gear, not up high, not down low, not to the left, not to the right. So we do got some setting up to do. It does take time, but we'll get it done. I'm not worried about it. I've probably done 10 axles in my life, so I'm really not worried about it. Okay, so I have this just, you know, mocked up with the old crush sleeve, the old pinion nut. There's no pinion seal or anything in there. I have a 0.030 shim on the pinion. That's where Ford recommends you start. And then they want you to put, I think it's 0.265 on the left side. And then they want you to put the most amount of biggest shims you could fit here with little drag on the last shim you put in. So that is what we have done. I did go ahead and I did move a couple shims from the left to the right just because I had zero backlash. And obviously you don't want zero backlash. If you guys don't know what backlash is, it is this right here. You see how that gear moves just ever so slightly. So that is your backlash. We have to use a dial indicator to measure that. We pretty much will stick it here. We'll put the needle on the gear tooth, and we will see just how much backlash we have until we get in within specification, which I believe for this differential is 0.08 to 0.012 or 0.013. I will let you guys know when I actually go to set it up. Right now, I'm going to see what we got as far as backlash goes here. And then we will check the pattern, make sure the pattern's okay and everything. But I have a slight issue. I have the cheap micrometer from Harbor Freight, and it doesn't really measure down to, it measures to 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. I need one that measures 0.006, because at the end of all of this, we add a 0.006 shim to each side, left and right, and that will give us our bearing preload. So that is very important, and we are going to want to get that right. So I'm just kind of mocking it up right now. I'm going to take, like I said, a rough measurement of the backlash, see if we're even close. And I do want to check and see where the pinion is riding on the ring gear, just because that will tell me if I have to take shims away from the pinion or add shims to the pinion. I don't think we're going to have to add shims to the pinion. I think 0.030 is more or less how big you want to go. I'm sure you could go bigger if you absolutely had to, but I don't think it's like a normal thing that you would have to go bigger than that. So I'm going to take a rough estimate really quick, just see what we're at, and then I'll put some paint on it, see how the teeth are riding and everything. Kind of just trying to get like a starting point here to figure out where I'm going to be with pinion shims, where I'm going to be with carrier shims. This way, when we go to do final assembly, final check, all that final stuff, I'll have a ballpark of where I'm, starting from. It is a little bit different. These are 456 gears. Now, the factory is a 327 gear. It's a much bigger gear, so of course it's going to be different. It is what it is. That's how it is. But I'm going to see what we're at. Hopefully we're relatively close. We pretty much should be. When you use Ford Motorsports gears, normally they honestly just go right in with the shims that came out of the diff, but this had aftermarket gears previous, and they were not Ford gears, so I did not want to go off anything they had done in this thing. It was making a ton of noise, and I honestly think it was set up very, very badly. So I started fresh. It's a little bit harder for me, but it will be 100% when it's done. You know what I mean? So I'll make sure everything is perfect. So let me take a quick measurement, and we'll see what we're at. Guys, I really hate to do this to you, but setting up differentials does take a while, especially what I'm doing to this one. I'm starting from scratch, and I have pretty much nothing to work with. So I don't want this video to be ridiculously long. We're already up to like 20 minutes. So I think we're going to do a 2-part video on this. Well, I don't think, I know, because I'm going to close the video out right now. And then, next week's video, we will be fully finishing up the 8.8. Like I said, I just don't want the video to be like 30, 40, 50 minutes long, because it definitely can be. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm trying to give you guys as much information on this diff as possible. I know a lot of you swap 8.8s in your Jeeps, 8.8s in Mustangs, so it definitely will help you guys out. I know it will. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please drop a like up on this video, drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in next week's video. Peace out. Stay blessed.
Everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you can go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up no matter what.